Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Happy end of 2023 and happy new year for 2024. It blows my mind every single time how much can happen in 1 year. The fact that I'm filming this in my first apartment, I was in high school when I started this series, so crazy. Anyways, let's just get into it. 23 things I learned in 2023. Number 1, you have to know your why. It's so easy to just get caught up complaining about what you do and forgetting the reason why you're doing it or what you're working towards. Number 2, it's okay to trust in an unknown future with a known God. Number 3, 20s are a really weird time to be alive. Like, people could be in such different stages. Some people could have just, starting college. Some people could be finishing college. Some people could be starting their jobs. Some people could have been working for like 5 years already. Some people could be married, engaged. Some people could be having their first kids. Some people could be having their third kids. Like, everyone was kind of the same-ish around until maybe I would say end of high school. 20s, it's just so weird seeing how people you grew up with are in such different stages of life than you are now. Number 4, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. Number 5, people view others the way that they view, perceive, or experience things themselves. So for example, because I myself like to take my shoes off before I come in the door, I kind of assume that everyone else does that unless otherwise noted. You just view and perceive things the way that it's always been for you. And this can go with life views, morals, general worldviews, perceptions, and things like that. So it's really interesting to think about how people may be perceiving you because they're perceiving you from their point of view and not from your point of view. Number 6, the thing about being genuine is that you can't fake it. Number 7, surrender can actually be an act of love. Submission can be an act of love and free will. I always kind of thought that submission was just like an act of tyranny, like oppression and things like that. But I realized that submission can be, I'm not saying every single time, but it actually can be an act of love where one puts themselves down in order to show their love or respect someone else. Number 8, I learned that I actually really like vocal pieces this year. This was the first time ever that I truly started to enjoy opera and just vocal art in general. That was something I never understood. Instruments I can kind of get because I play violin myself, but vocal artists, I never really grew to appreciate that until this year. Some songs by Schubert, Mendelssohn, leaders, oh my gosh, some of those can be so breathtakingly beautiful, and I just never knew that before. Number 9, if the music is genuine, kind, and beautiful, why would it need an explanation? This was something I learned when I was asking people, why do you do music? And what about people that can't understand? Maybe what I was thinking of was classical music, how it can become very hard for people who are not in the field to understand. But the question I was countered with was, if the music is truly kind, beautiful, and genuine, why would it need explaining? And I was challenged by that. Number 10, when you know, you know. Number 11, I learned how to scuba dive for the first time. That was the first time I ever dove deep in the water and learned how to use I forgot what it's called, but the oxygen tank thing. I'm gonna kick myself later when I'm editing because I'm gonna remember what it's called. But anyways, I learned how to scuba dive for the first time and to snorkel properly for the first time because I used to hate snorkeling due to just always gulping down so much salt water, but now I know how to do it properly and it's actually really fun. Number 12, I learned spiritual consistency. Really, I feel like I am growing a lot in my faith where it doesn't depend on how I feel towards anything to determine what I actually believe and know to be true. So how much I trust in God doesn't have to do with my circumstances, doesn't have to do with how much I'm feeling Him at the moment or anything like that. So I learned spiritual consistency. Number 13, I learned how to fully trust in God. I never really understood the story of Mary and Martha, where Martha was the one doing things and Mary was just sitting at the feet of Jesus. I never understood Mary until this year. I really learned how to just sit at the feet of Jesus and what it means to just be still in front of God. Number 14, I learned how efficient Japan is and all the little quirks about it. I learned so many cool things. For example, everyone likes to stand on one side of the elevator, and it depends on where you are in Japan, which side that you stand on. I also learned that fruit is insanely expensive in Japan and is often used as a gift. I learned a lot about the culture there, what's probably appropriate to do at certain dining etiquette and things like that, how there's no tipping culture, just so many little things like that. Number 15, I learned that the trash trucks play music in Taiwan and how the trash trucks work in Taiwan. Okay, so first of all, for context, I have been to Taiwan at least 5 times at this point, and I never once noticed how their trash trucks worked. So like the trash truck comes playing this really loud music. It's like always the same music consistently, and it's kind of sound like the ice cream truck. So like when you're a foreigner visiting Taiwan, you're gonna hear the ice cream truck coming, which is actually really funny, because if you think about it, what if they come to America and hear an ice cream truck and think, like, that kind of sounds like the trash truck. Anyways, so I was in Taiwan and I heard like this ice cream truck sound coming. By the way, the music that plays is the Maiden's Prayer. Plays like this little melody, like an ice cream truck sound, and everyone comes running out with their trash bags and they just dump in the trash, and there's also a recycling truck behind, which is just so funny. I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, that's not how it works at all in the United States, but it's cool to see, you know, just small things like how do people do their trash in other countries. And, you know, you feel really dumb when you thought that was the ice cream truck and it was a trash truck. Number 16, I learned about monetizing your passions. So I kind of learned more about the nuance behind what it means to monetize your passions and if that's even something worth doing, because obviously you want to love what you do, but also can you start to despise what you do or used to love when it becomes just what you do? Pick and choose your battles. But I learned that monetizing your passions may not always be what it seems like it is from when you're viewing other people's lives. Number 17, as I mentioned, I moved into an apartment for the first time. So here I am. We have our little Christmas tree and our Christmas lights, which makes me so happy. Like, you have no idea, like just waking up to this view or like going to bed knowing it's just so cozy and warm. So I learned a lot from having an apartment for the first time. Food is not as cheap as you think, even if you're not the one paying for it. Even if you're the one just buying it, you realize how expensive food can be. Cleaning, so much goes into just maintaining. Cooking, oh my gosh, cooking, every single time there's like a whole process, you know, the prep, the cooking, and then the cleaning of it. But I've also learned how great it is to be able to have your own space. It's such a blessing. And also to be able to host people. I learned that I absolutely love doing that so much. Having people over anytime, just being able to just share my home with them. Lots to learn from moving into an apartment for the first time. Absolutely, I love it so far. Number 18, I learned to pray for a focus on God, because I used to pray about help me with this exam, help me with this audition or this practice or whatever, but I would pray for a lot of things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I really learned how important it is just to pray, to keep my eyes focused on God, focused on looking up instead of looking down and being overwhelmed and things like that. Praying for a focus on God. Number 19, I'm going to read this because it's a quote from my sister, and I was like, oh, genius. Okay, it's easy to get distracted by trying to keep temporary things. And it's easy to take advantage of the things that you think are forever. So many times we get caught up just trying to keep the things that are temporary in our lives. Like maybe some friendships or some opportunities, we work so hard to keep them. And then we take advantage or take for granted of the things that we know are forever. Like I would say mostly family or relationships. Those are the easiest to be taking for granted. Number 20, the adult job world is just the world. Life is what you make of it, right? But I will say that I feel like every dream we have can become anticlimactic pretty quickly. What I mean by that is, look, let's say my dream was to be at Peabody, to be at my dream music school, to be a music student. That was my dream. Every day is mostly consisting of eating, sleeping, cooking, cleaning, maintaining, let's just say practicing. These things, let's not even talk about practicing. Let's just say the amount it takes to just be a human being, right? So eating, sleeping, cooking, cleaning, that just becomes your daily life. Obviously, we have to have a dream and a goal to work towards. But I've also realized that no matter what, at the end of the day, so much of your day is just that. It just kind of depends on what state you're doing it in, or maybe the quality of those things. This also is like a good reminder to just focus on those little things and find enjoyment in those things, because that's so much of your day anyways, right? Work towards where you want to be, but also appreciate where you are now and just appreciate all the little moments, because that's really what life consists of. And when I say that, I learned that the adult job is also just the world. Like no workplace is perfect. No dream job, career, entrepreneur, like whatever it is, at the end of the day, it's like just an adult workplace. I'm not saying that to be negative. It's just kind of something I've realized. How you make of that information and how you deal with it is what you will, right? Like I still think there is stuff to be made out of that. I still think there are positives to knowing that and then dealing with it accordingly. Number 21, I learned the importance of rest. As musicians, as probably anyone ambitious, hardworking, anything like that, it is so hard to put the stuff down sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I have to drag myself away from doing work because rest is important. You're gonna burn out if you don't rest. And not just that, like we need rest, and rest is good for us. I really learned the importance of that. I even learned what fake rest is, and I'm so guilty of that. It's like doing laundry as a form of rest or cooking as a form of rest, like things that need to be done anyways because you're resting. If you're not intentionally resting and you're still trying to be productive while you're resting, it's just not it. Number 22, I had my first recital ever, and I learned so much from that. I will say a couple things. Like, number one, I learned that you really do have to take a leap of faith to be able to do something like that. I also learned that consistency is really important when you're practicing for that. Cramming does not work. I also learned for myself that I actually can memorize. I didn't think that I could memorize 40 something minutes of music. I really didn't think I was capable, but that inspired me to work harder to do more because I realized that I can in the first place, and that was really important for me personally to realize. Number 23, last but not least, actually probably my favorite, it's hard to love someone or something that you don't find beautiful. Like when I mentioned earlier about finding joy in the little things that you do, finding beauty in everything that you do. As a musician, when was the last time that you found your own music beautiful? Or as a chemist or physicist or biologist, anything, when was the last time that you found those equations beautiful? Because isn't that kind of what got you started in the first place? Because you found something beautiful in the thing that you do? Same with the people, same with the relationships, anything. It's hard to love someone or something that you don't find beautiful. I love that. That sticks with me so much, and I think about that very regularly. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video, for being along with this journey of mine so far. I appreciate all of you so much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year, and I will see you in my next video.